So welcome back to Street Switch Photography for the third time. I've actually managed to find the video that I want to show everybody to do with the Fabian Society. This guy explains it extremely well, and I've never actually seen this guy online before. It's very interesting, so let's do this.
Street Switch Photography.
So who are the Fabian Society? From what I've seen online over the past 25 minutes, I would say roughly, the Fabian Society are a group of socialist Labour MPs or Labour constituents that like to keep this a secret. It's literally a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, them being socialist and things like this was a concern for me right from the very start, but the fact that they're trying to keep this a secret because they're trying to control the narrative from the outside, which nobody voted for, is really worrying. It goes back to the churches and back to the Vatican, according to Leave My Rights Alone. Thank you and welcome to the channel. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to be playing this video because I think this guy speaks about it very eloquently, much better than I could ever speak about it, because I know very little about it. All I do know is that we've got these new digital IDs coming in and nobody actually wants them. And I think personally that it's going to fall completely on its arse. This is the third time they've tried to implement these digital IDs. The only time they were successful in implementing IDs, but not digital, was in the Second World War. But Churchill soon got rid of those IDs. Now, the Fabian Society, I do know that it's a very old society, let's say, and it was put together of mostly Labour voting or Labour MPs and things like that, so they can work from the shadows. Let's see what this guy says about them, and let's have a little bit of a breakdown for it. Somebody's just said you've got a lot of research to do. I totally agree with you. And do you know what? I'm actually going to do this research live, and I'm going to find out who they are online whilst doing these particular shows, because I find this stuff absolutely fascinating. It goes back to Zionists and Zionism and things like that, according to Leave My Rights Alone. I find it interesting and I want to know more about it. So let's watch this video, let's see what this guy says, and we'll research it together and find out exactly what it is the Fabian Society is up to. I'd like to show you the actual emblem that they actually use. And as you can see, F, Wolf, S, the Fabian Society, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Not a very good start, is it, for him? Let's have a listen to this guy.
So here we go, the big one, the Fabian Society, the wolf in sheep's clothing. You see, most people have never heard of the Fabian Society, and that's exactly how they like it. Quiet, polite, academic, but massively influential. If you've ever wondered why Britain feels like it's been nudged for decades in one direction, today's bigger government, social engineering, and endless long-term planning, well, that never seems to involve you. Well, that's Fabianism. They don't riot in the streets, they don't storm parliaments, they sit in libraries and think tanks writing papers and slowly bending politics to their will.
That was a little bit worrying. Think tanks. We know what think tanks do. Look what happened with Facebook. And they had a think tank called Cambridge Analytica, which leaked a lot of information, didn't it? It was found it was being sold. Can you remember it? Cambridge Analytica? I'm pretty sure they were a think tank. And they were leaking information from Facebook and selling it to other people, basically to gain profit. This is worrying, especially with these ID cards and them going to have access to all of our information and what they may be able to do with this information. Not just the fact that they'll be able to look into your bank account, but to actually be able to actually freeze your bank account if you do anything wrong.
Will, a literal wolf in sheep's clothing. Their own logo was a wolf wearing a sheepskin. They even brag about the method: gradual, sneaky, persistent. So today I'm breaking down exactly who the Fabians are. I have done this before many times. but you probably didn't see it. Where they came from, how they built the Labour Party in their image, and why their fingerprints are still all over politics today. From Tony Blair's third way to Keir Starmer's obsession with managed decline dressed up as progress. And I'll show you how this 140-year club of intellectuals still feeds the same unelected elitist agenda we see with groups like the World Economic Forum. Because if you don't know Fabianism, you don't really understand how Britain got here.
Now, I quite like this bloke, Bruce Unfiltered. It's quite interesting. I tell you what, shout out to him. And,
this new
go and
scam
give
is
him a
spreading
sub.
rapidly in 2025
Let's get rid of
and
this
emptying
advert.
bank accounts in seconds.
You own a credit card?
So first up, let's start with their origins and founding. The Fabian Society was founded in 1884 in London. Its key figures were Sidney Webb, his wife Beatrice Webb, playwright George Bernard Shaw, and a handful of other middle-class intellectuals. Their mission, to bring socialism to Britain, but not the fiery, revolutionary Marxism of the barricades. No, their genius, or their trick, depending on your view, was patience.
Now, what is socialism is basically just another form of communism or just another form of Marxism. They're all slightly different in their own way and their own interpretation. Now, socialism isn't something to be proud of. If you've got somebody that's saying, I'm a proud socialist, that would ring alarm bells for me for a start. They're usually an authoritarian person, somebody in, some seat of some sort of power. I wouldn't trust these people as far as I could throw a stone, and that is not very far at all.
They believe socialism could be achieved not through revolution, but through slow infiltration. Institutions, schools, civil service, political parties, slowly...
Schools. That makes sense. Because if you go and read a book, The Dumbing Down of Children in Schools, and what they're actually teaching children in schools nowadays is to hate Great Britain and to, hate being British, hate our flag, hate the British people. This actually plays into the narrative of the, let's just say, the big replacement. Some people like to call it a conspiracy theory, but it doesn't look very much like a conspiracy theory anymore, does it?
Re-engineer the system from within. And their name comes from Quintus Fabius Maximus, a Roman general who fought Hannibal, not with head-on battles, but with delay.
If you're talking about Hitler was a socialist, that's actually not necessarily true. I would say he was more of a totalitarian than a socialist, or leaning to the right or the left. I don't think he was either. He was a totalitarian, and we're basically being pinned down to be more of a totalitarian state than ever before. Yeah, Hitler was a very strange one. He was a bit of a weird gentleman, I'll put it that way. And I wouldn't really like to call him a gentleman, so my bad. He was a disgusting human being.
Play, attrition, and gradual strategy. Fabian tactics became a phrase for winning by patience. They embraced that. They would wait, wear down, chip away, and never ever stop. That's why they've lasted so long. They weren't a flash in the pan radical movement. They were termites, and termites don't shout. They just quietly eat away at the foundation.
Was Mussolini a socialist?
Until the whole house is theirs. And what's worse is they told you straight, the wolf in sheep's clothing emblem. Not even hidden, it was a statement. We'll dress our intentions in respectable, harmless clothing, while our real goal is power. Later, when people started pointing out how sinister that looked, they swapped it for a tortoise. When I strike hard was the logo. Same idea. Their approach was permutation. Rather than build their own mass party from scratch, they would worm their way into existing institutions. They joined the Liberal Party. They infiltrated trade unions. They wrote pamphlets and books that educated.
So they infect other parties and take over the party from within. They are a cancer to other parties. They are a cancer to Great Britain. And if you look at Tony Blair and you look at David Cameron, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Educated the next generation of civil servants. And their 1889 pamphlet, Fabian Essays in Socialism, was a bestseller. They created the London School of Economics in 1895. Yes, the LSE was literally a Fabian creation, designed to train generations of administrators and economists in gradualist socialism. And when Labour finally emerged in the early 1900s, the Fabians were there to provide the brains.
So basically, the Fabian Society was the ones that created the Labour, and then these people would, right, okay, Again, I'm learning this as we watch this. I don't know hardly anything about them. I knew they existed, but I don't know what they were about. I know they were a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I know that it's certainly not a good thing to be a member of this society.
The policies and the patient strategy. But you can't tell the story of Labour without the Fabian Society. You see, Ramsay MacDonald, the first Labour Prime Minister, was a Fabian. Clement Attlee, who built the post-war welfare state, was a Fabian. And Tony Blair was the chairman of the Fabian Society before he became Prime Minister. Even Keir Starmer is a long-standing Fabian. It's like a conveyor belt. The party might change faces, but the Fabian blueprint stays the same. And their big moment...
That's shocking. Keir Starmer is a member of the Fabian Society, and he's also been accused of being a member of the KGB in the past when he was younger at university. I'm pretty sure he went on a flaming school trip or some sort of trip, university trip to the Ukraine. Yeah, he's definitely a socialist, isn't he? He's definitely a Stasi arsehole, we know that. He's definitely a communist.
Was 1945. Clement Attlee's Labour government rolled out the NHS, nationalised industries,
This is like conspiracy theories coming true. This is actually quite shocking.
Expanded welfare and reshaped Britain after the war. The Fabians saw it as their triumph, and in many ways it was. But
now, I absolutely promise I have not watched any of this guy's videos before. I am doing this live as we watch it right now and learning myself exactly what it is that this is. I didn't know Starmer was a Fabian. And it begins to sort of, all the jigsaw puzzle pieces begin to fall into place.
Here's the catch. It wasn't revolution, it was bureaucracy. More control, more state, more centralisation. And once those structures are in, they rarely get rolled back. Fast forward to the 1990s, Tony Blair modernised Labour with his third way, but the skeleton underneath was still Fabian, pragmatic, managerial, obsessed with long-term nudges. Rather than open debate, Blair described himself proudly as a Fabian, and his government was packed with them. Today, Keir Starmer is cut from the exact same cloth. Polished, technocratic, loyally, the classic Fabian. Looks boring, sounds reasonable, but behind it is the same ideology of control. Now you might ask, why does this matter today? Well, because Fabianism is the grandfather of the modern technocratic elite. The idea that unelected intellectuals, planners and experts should quietly steer society without asking permission. Does that sound familiar? It should. It's exactly how the EU operates. It's also exactly how the World Economic Forum talks. It's exactly how every global governance project works.
What about Germany?
You don't get a choice. They'll just tell you it's for your own good. And it will be phased in gradually until it's too late to object. You see, the Fabians believed in educating the public into socialism, not asking them. And if the public kicked up a fuss, they'd wait them out, they'd work around them, they'd drown them in endless reports and consultations until the opposition wore down. That's how net zero is being sold. That's how digital ID is being pushed. Fabian.
Wow.
In tactics all the way. So what's the actual problem with Fabianism? Some will say, well, they gave us the NHS, they gave us welfare, they expanded education, but the cost was democracy itself being diluted. The Fabian method is elitist to its core. It assumes the public are too thick to understand big ideas. It assumes change must be sneaked past people, not debated openly. And it leaves us with political parties that all drink from the same intellectual trough. That's why Labour and the Tories often look like two wings of the same bird, because the civil service, the universities and the think tanks have been permeated for over a century.
Now this makes me wonder. We've got the Fabian Society. Just how many other societies are out there or being created by lefties? This makes me wonder about my course of action in the past, let's say. This makes me wonder exactly what it is that people want out of it. This is worrying.
By the Fabian Society. It's not a conspiracy theory. The Fabians publish their reports openly. Their conferences are attended by MPs, journalists, corporate lobbyists. They're not hiding. They're just banking on the fact that you're too busy working, paying bills and living life to even notice.
This incredible mold remover gel can restore your bathroom and tiles to their original shine in just 15 minutes.
That's their biggest trick. They even have a wiki page. And I'll be blunt, when you see Keir Starmer reading bland sound bites about long-term missions, you're not hearing an original idea. You're not hearing anything constructed by the cabinet. You're hearing 140 years of Fabian gradualism polished up to 2025. Starmer isn't leading, he's recycling, and Blair before him was doing exactly the same thing. You see, if the Fabians were a band, they'd be Coldplay, quiet, unthreatening, but somehow still everywhere. If they were a pet, they'd be a cat, sneaking around, knocking your stuff over and then looking at you like...
They're a bit like you too, when they put music on your phone without your permission and you don't realise it's actually there until it's too late. They are the cancer of society in some ways, aren't they? And these people are all around us. They may not be members of the Fabian Society, but just how many other societies are being kept secret? How many secret meetings go on every year in Great Britain in a plan to take over, I don't know, for example, a local authority or a local church or a local anything like that? And these are not good things. And it's extremely worrying. And I feel a set of videos coming on about this.
It was your fault. And if they were honest, their slogan wouldn't be for the many, not the few. It would be for the few disguised as the many. The wolf in sheep's clothing wasn't a joke. It was a confession. And Britain has been living under Fabian tactics for over a century without most people even knowing the name or who they are. So to wrap it up, let's pull it all together. The Fabian Society is not some fringe club. It's the quiet architect of modern Britain. From Attlee's welfare state to Blair's third way to Starmer's grey technocracy, the Fabians provided the ideology, the strategy and the methods, and their method is always the same, gradually.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know everything about the Fabian Society or any other society. I never claim to be any type of public intellect. I never claim to be having an IQ above 140 whatever. If anything, I am as green as I am cabbage looking, and I'm not the cleverest person on the planet, but I know right from wrong. And I know that this feels very sinister. I know that it feels wrong to me to have these ID cards. It feels wrong to me to be associated with certain individuals that have tried this on a much smaller scale. And it makes me wonder exactly what their intentions were. Now I need to go away and do a little bit more research before I do any more videos and things like that on particular subjects, not particularly the Fabian Society. I'd like you guys to actually come and learn what this actually is with me. Tomorrow I'll do another live on it once I've figured out a few more truths about it and about how many more members there are and which strategic parts they play within this society.
Permutation, control dressed up as compassion. That's why I think people need to know the name, because once you see the pattern,
is it in our schools?
You can't unsee it. The endless long-term missions, the reports, the nudges, the policies no one asked for, but everyone somehow ends up living under. That is Fabianism, and it
My question is the Fabian Society a larger version of modern paradigm?
ties directly into the same unelected global elite thinking we see with the WEF, the EU, and every other alphabet organisation that thinks it knows better than you. The choice is really quite simple. Either we start calling this out, challenging it, demanding openness and accountability, or we keep sleepwalking while the wolf tightens its sheepskin. So I say to you this, your move, Britain.
Excellent video. Absolutely brilliant video by this Bruce guy. Bruce Unfiltered. Go and give him a like, go and give him a big thumbs up, go and subscribe to his channel. He's got 13,000 subscribers. He obviously likes his videos to look very polished, unlike mine. I will be doing more videos on the Fabian Society. I now need to go away and do some more research on them and to find out exactly what parts certain individuals actually play and what more this has to do with Labour and this digital ID and what plans they may have for the future for this digital ID. It's very sinister. It's being played out from the shadows. It's being played very cloak and dagger. And I don't like that. This has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and hit the notification bell. Give me a big thumbs up or a big thumbs down, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.
Street Switch Photography.